Back to the Elite Eight, just talk about the game and your feelings.
Great feeling. It was a tremendous game. Maryland playing the ACC, it's, undoubtedly this year was top to bottom the strongest conference, so they play a lot of good competition, and they're a good team, great in possession, and, we wanted to contain them a little bit and not allow them as many looks at goal, which I thought we did well. And, when you consider we moved Flash in for Carson and had to shuffle the pack a little bit, all the credit goes to the players. They adapted to the game plan, and I thought they did a great job.
You talked about the penalty kick. It seemed like you read that one perfectly.
I mean, it comes to dealing with practice and seeing different types of PKs and, just hanging in there for your team. So,
how much did that first goal, scoring so quickly, and then having the save there, kind of set the tempo and the momentum for you guys?
I think it brought a lot of confidence for us, and
always last.
It kept the momentum with us.
On the PK, did she give any tells that she was going that way, or was it simply you were going that way the entire way?
I mean, you always try to read and react, and it was kind of a little bit of both, so you just do whatever you can in the moment.
Coach, I think you said the other night you hope you all could maybe bring a little happiness. How do you feel?
Well, I mean, I think you saw by the reaction of our kids and the crowd, and I saw the women's basketball team over there with our kids before the game. I had no idea they were coming out like that, and that was a touching moment, I think. And hopefully, those kids for an hour and a half there could be big OSU fans and enjoy it and not have to worry about what life's throwing at them. So from our end, we're over the moon and we're super excited. And tomorrow, obviously at the Memorial, is a day for grieving, and we'll do that. And then it's up to us to refocus in again and try to make the school proud.
Can you talk a little bit about how you handled this with the girls? What frame of mind you told them they needed to be in? Because you have to grieve no matter what.
Yeah, it was difficult. Our pregame meal on Friday, it was very morbid. Usually the girls are bouncing around and they're excited, and the ESPN was on and they were talking about the tragedy, and it was very difficult, to be honest with you. They can talk of their own emotions, but first of all, for us to be able to focus on the game and then try to get them focused. And Coach Holder came in and talked to the team and told them how big a moment we were in and how it could make things a little bit better for a short period of time. And I think that hit home with them. And once we got through Friday, today, from my standpoint, seemed a little bit easier to get everybody focused in. So not an easy weekend for sure, but these guys, like I said on Friday, they're so courageous, and it's really a pleasure to be their coach.
One more thing, Colin, for you, from my perspective, last year you made the Elite Eight, and you guys were somewhat of a surprise around the country. This year, when that bracket came out, this is exactly the expectation for this team. You were supposed to hit this mark. How satisfying is it that you went out and you don't want to stop here, but you hit the mark. Your team has hit the mark.
Well, I think you can see from the reaction after the game, last year these guys were in the crowd jumping around and up and down, and this year I know they're happy, but we feel like this is where we belong. And we'll play the winner of Stanford, Boston College, and that'll be another tough game, but it'll be a game we'll expect to win, at least have a chance to win if we play well. So, the sky's the limit for these guys. We know that, next weekend will be a 50-50 game, whoever we play. And I think that shows from, like I said, they were excited, but it wasn't as if that we've accomplished something this season. We'll look back on this, win or lose next weekend, it'll be a great season. But I think these guys, Final Four and the national championship's what we really want.
It seemed like during the end of the year, just the wear and tear of the season was kind of wearing on you guys. I mean, you had a couple ties there, the heartbreaking loss there the last second against A&M in the championship game. But you guys have responded well this tournament. You feel like you guys are peaking back at the right time now?
I think so. I mean, Annika sat out most of the year, so she's nice and fresh. I think that makes a difference. We might look at doing that every year, just sit somebody for the whole year. No, I mean, it is. It's a long season, and I think for any team to go undefeated and untied is, it's not really that realistic, to be honest with you. It's difficult, and especially when you play in a conference like the Big 12. So we kind of knew as coaches there probably would be a blip somewhere or other, and you just don't want it to be the next game. So I wasn't worried about these guys regrouping. Those were tough losses, but sometimes that makes you better, face a little bit of adversity, and sometimes that gives you a little push to try harder and train harder and play better. And I think over this weekend, I wouldn't say we played our best soccer, but we played very well, and they certainly played tough, that's for sure.
AD talked about the save on the PK. Have you been around a keeper that at this level is as good as she is? Because I'm told, I don't know how often that's stopped, but that she's about double in the normal percentage of stopping PKs.
I'm not just saying this because she's sitting next to me and she's bigger and stronger than I am. But I haven't been around a keeper at any level as good as AD. When I played in college with guys who are bigger and they have different attributes, but they weren't as good. It's unbelievable what she means to the team. And you know, a lot of times goalkeepers get too much credit, and a lot of times they get too much blame. And but AD, you know, we always know that she's going to make one or two big saves to give us a chance to win, and it gives the rest of the team so much confidence. So, no, I was not surprised she saved it. Most penalties are probably 90-10 score. With her, it's 50-50. And we see that in practice all the time. These guys will tell you.
Well, some of the players, she's memorized their moves.
That's true. Well, she said, what was it, Taylor? What? That kid looked like Taylor when she was hitting it? And that helped you? What'd you say after the game?
No, it was one of our other teammates, but that's okay.
Okay, you talk about it.
Yeah.
Well, who was it?
Yeah.
I'm not gonna give you that information. Come on now.
We might need
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, we practice PKs every day, and like I said, you see different ones and different players and types of styles. So it was a reaction from reading a player in practice, and it's kind of the same thing. So.
Annika, you got these last 2 goals in the past 2 games. What does this sort of say about you sort of leading the team into the Elite Eight?
Well, I'm just kind of glad to be back at the level I'm right now because season was a little rough with injuries. So I really, right now, I feel the best I felt all season.
Can you guys talk us through the goal? It happened so quick, and maybe they weren't ready for you guys to attack that early.
Kendall just threw it into me, and then we kind of passed back and forth, and I passed it to Annika and with her back to the goal, and she showed her skill and turned the girl and scored.
I just gave it a shot. I mean, it was early in the game, and I actually didn't expect to go in because it was kind of going through all the legs and the back post, and the goalie didn't even do anything. It was kind of, I don't know, I didn't think it was going in, but it did.
Annika, you touched on this a little bit about this season, but you missed most of last season, including the run to Elite Eight. I mean, how's it feel to be having so much struggle the past 2 seasons, and now you get to enjoy this with your teammates as you push on?
I mean, it's just great. Last year, it was great to watch, just to see them be this good, and we knew we could repeat it. That's kind of what kept me going through rehab and everything, because we knew we could be back at the same level. And it's just great that I'm right here now and playing and feeling good.
Now, I noticed you're the only one wearing short sleeves out there. What's with that? Is like you can handle the cold, or is it saving, or?
I don't know, I just always play in short sleeves. I just don't
Tough
like
German, huh?
I do remember talking in preseason camp. This is exactly that day, and it was 100 degrees, I think, or more that day. You talked about this is where you exactly are coming back where you wanted to be.
Yes.
Talk about the excitement. You've kind of hit the mark. I mentioned this team hit the mark. You've hit the mark.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, last year was hard to watch, but this is where I wanted to be the whole time. I mean, even before when we lost in the second round, we always were looking to go further. And making it last year and having to watch was hard, but then still knowing so many people are coming back and just knowing we could repeat it and now repeating it is just exciting.
Can you guys talk a little bit about the weather? I know soccer, you guys are used to playing tournaments. Obviously, with the short sleeve, you played in this at home. But this was like one day. It went from 75 to this.
I don't think it was much of a factor. The wind is more of a problem. Cold is, you just play through it, and you're really not cold when you're out there. So it's
I like this a lot better than when it's like Friday in the wind.
Yeah.
That's true.
Hey, can I ask you guys, how difficult has it been for the players these past 3 days for you guys to have to balance kind of the tragedy with having to move on?
I mean, like Coach said, pre-game, we talked about it and made sure that we were refocused for Friday since it was initially Friday and Thursday night and Friday. But throughout the weekend, we've kind of been there with the basketball team, and it's easier to refocus coming off of Friday to come into this game and continue to do well for them in OSU and just stay together and stay confident.
Did you know they were coming today?
I did, because I'm kind of close with a few of them. So like some of the teammates did, obviously coach didn't, but like we said during our prayer, we went over there with them and told them that we were right there with them, and today was for them. So.
And who made the sign over the bench?
One of our teammates, and we signed it all in the locker room and brought it out.
Which one of the teammates?
It wasn't.
I don't know. Well, Bailey was coloring on it. I don't know who initially did it.
Not the same one whose PK style you.
No.
Okay. That would have been a lot of contribution in one day.
You're right.
And the same question I asked Coach. You feel like maybe you've helped a little bit winning these last couple of games in some small way?
I mean, with them coming out, that shows that they support us like we support them, and for them coming out, even when they are grieving, proves that like what we've done for them has really meant something to them. And they sat out here in this cold for the game. So, I mean, I think we've really stepped up and helped them and helped the school out.
Did they stay the whole game?
I'm not for sure.
I wasn't sure either.
So.
Coach, do you think you can talk a little bit about the injuries on your team?
Not allowed to.
You know, okay.
Otherwise, I would. But we've got a couple dinged up. But we would hope. What I will say is we would hope to have Catherine back in practice this week and good to go. As far as someone who was out last week or didn't dress this week because of her injury, but she should be back and good to go. And obviously Carson, we think is out long term. She gets an MRI. We're not sure exactly because she gets the MRI tomorrow, I believe. But she's on crutches, so it doesn't look good.
Was Kendall 100% today?
I think she tweaked something. I'll have to ask our trainer to see exactly, but she tweaked something in the game, and so obviously we'll take a look at her Monday. But at this stage of the season, I think every team's gonna have one or two that are in and out and dinged up. So relatively speaking, we're doing all right.
Good.
Thank you all very much.